Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your May 2025 master video with me, Raphael. So let's get into it. So you're getting a whole lot of what you love, you're getting a whole lot of what you like, but you're getting it in a different frequency, but definitely at a greater level. With that said, I just want to say for the massive outpouring of love that you guys gave me while I was away and on my return, it really does mean a lot. And I'm so very grateful to all of you. So with that said, whenever I'm talking about astrology, remember I am using the whole sign tropical Western astrology system. And if I ever forget to mention the dates of the transits that I'm talking about, you'll find those in the link in the description box below. With that said, let's get straight into it and see what the month of May has in store for you. And I think you're going to like this. All right. So we're starting right at like literally right at the start of the start of the month. May 1st, Venus comes back into the sign of Aries. This is coming back into your fifth house. Now, Venus coming into Aries, okay, it's not necessarily her favorite sign. However, Venus exalts in the fifth house, so she does good work here. She comes into a space of joy, creativity, romance, pleasure, and personal expression, like your self-expression. And it's worth mentioning because the fifth house also represents your like speculative endeavors and luck, lotteries, gambling, all of that kind of thing. Lady Luck is most certainly on your side this month, right? Now, that being said, it's a beautiful boost of energy. It's going to make you more appealing to others. You're feeling good in your body. You're reconnecting to your joy. Venus is the ruler of your sixth house. So Venus rules your body and your physical health and vitality. She also rules your 11th house of friendships, social circles, and connections. So you could be having lots of things coming up in this regard where it's like, the connections that you have at work maybe start to balance really well with social connection and interaction. Maybe you start to make friends with work colleagues, or maybe you start to see that opportunities are arising not necessarily because of what you know, but maybe because of who you know. You might feel called to spend more time with people who really inspire your creativity. So check in with that as well. Now, in the background, Saturn is conjunct the North Node in your fourth house, right? So there's a deeper thread running behind all of this as well. And it's like you're not just playing anymore, you're building joy that lasts, right? And although these transits are separate, they're not speaking to each other, I do feel that they were worth mentioning at the same time. On May the 5th, Mercury comes into a conjunction with Chiron, and they are going to sextile an opportunity to Jupiter, who is the Lord of opportunity. So Mercury conjunct Chiron in your fifth house, and then they're going to sextile Jupiter, which is in your seventh house. This is a powerful healing moment that maybe unfolds in the realm of love, passion, or maybe even performance in some way. You might see how some of your past wounds or your self-expression, or should I say, maybe you see how your past wounds have shaped your self-expression, especially around romantic vulnerability, or creative confidence, like what you have had the guts to share or not, as the case might be. And a conversation with a partner may really bring like, or maybe even not necessarily just a partner, like this could be a colleague, it could be a friend, it could be a family member even, but it's like a conversation with a partner or someone close really helps bring a lot of clarity to you. And because Jupiter, your ruler, is a part of this transit, it's about freeing your heart from the past so that it can really expand into the future. Trust the messages that come through here, especially if it makes you feel a little bit like, oh, I feel a little bit exposed here, because that's really, like when Rumi said, like the wound is where the light enters you. This really feels like that, right? The sun is coming into that conjunction with Chiron, and it's like it's going to be a moment of, oh, let me really sorry, not the sun, Mercury is coming into a conjunction with this, and it's like you're able to speak about something that much more. And by highlighting that wound, it's like you crack yourself open to let the light in. On May the 11th, Mercury enters Taurus into your sixth house. And Mercury is flying at this point, I might add. So Mercury comes into the sixth, and your mind turns to work, health, your routines, your day-to-day life and patterns. You start to organize or reorganize your schedule, maybe your work, like you're fine-tuning your workflows in some way, maybe addressing long-standing health goals or desires that you have. And because Mercury rules your seventh house of partnerships and your 10th house of career, this is adjustments that ripple into your professional life or your partnerships in some way. This is like a slow and steady approach that really goes far. And I will say, like, think about consistency over chaos, right? This isn't a time to, yeah, let's just do it. It's about volume. And because Mercury is quite a quick energy. But luckily, when it comes into Taurus, it slows that energy down. Choose habits that serve the vision. All right. Like choose habits that really serve the vision that you have for your legacy, right? For what you really want to achieve in the world. On May the 14th, we've got a beautiful grand fire trine that features your wonderful self. This is happening for you across the first house, the fifth house, and the ninth houses. Now, this is the kind of like, this is your kind of astrology, all right? Like in that regard. Venus in the fifth house, right? She's in her joy, she's doing good stuff there. It's a fiery, wild Venus. If you saw any of my lives last year, I went through the process of kind of characterizing the different Venuses. And Venus in Aries is kind of like she's the go-getter chick. She's not like she doesn't need a man, she doesn't need anyone to help her with anything. This is the Venus that's got it, right? She's probably a little bit of a tomboy, right? She wears cut-off shorts. She's got a skateboard. She's like, this is a Venus that is about it. She shows up. Mars in your uh ninth house, right? So obviously, if you're Sagittarius, then Leo represents your fifth house. Sorry, Leo represents your ninth house. And with Mars in that ninth house, this is really helping you get a real, it's like you've got this need to stand for something, right? And you will fight for your beliefs anyway. That's very much a Sagittarian trait. But with Mars in your ninth house, it's like you are really going after what you have to say, and you will deliver the truth in a way that you really feel that it needs to be delivered. And then you've got the moon in your first house, right? So this is a fleeting transit because the moon is going to be in Sag. It's just after full, right? So we're just off the back of a full moon. So the moon still has a lot of power, but it is a waning moon technically. But this is a grand fire trine. It's a moment for boldness. It's a moment for purpose. Say yes to the adventure as if you need any help with that, right? The risk, the passion. This is energy to move, to act, to create, to do something, and maybe even to gamble a little, right? Especially with Venus in that fifth house for you. um, yeah, I think that's as much as I want to say. Apply for the thing, launch the idea, speak your truth. Like you are magnetic right now, and you know, being a fire sign, you're gonna feel this one. Trust me, you'll be like lit up. You're gonna be like, oh, like humming with power and energy. On May the 17th, we've got the grand Earth trine, and this for you. So Luna's now moved on into Capricorn, so she's moved into your second house, right? So this is happening across the second, the sixth, and the 10th houses for you. So Moon is now in Capricorn. Obviously, you've got Uranus in the sign of Taurus, which for you represents your sixth house, and then you've got the North Node in the sign of Virgo, which for you is your 10th house of career. This, something that you've been working on behind the scenes, can now finally start to take shape or take form. This is money meets structure meets legacy, right? All of these energies kind of come together, and it's grounded in the work that you're doing every single day. Expect some kind of career clarity to come out of this, and maybe potentially long-term reward if you're consistent. Old ideas, old connections could suddenly prove profitable here, especially because of that South Node element as well. On May the 18th, the Sun comes into a conjunction with Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Again, That sixth house is absolutely being lit up. And this is an unexpected shift in your daily routine, your work environment, your wellness. And if you've got a wellness plan or you're wanting to get one off the ground, this could jolt into action now. Maybe you have a flash of insight about how you want to live and work on that daily level. And it's like suddenly you're ready for it to be a whole new approach to things. The freedom, freedom in general, actually is the theme here. But it's like how you bring an element of freedom to the things that you have to do every day. It's the freedom through better habits, not escape, right? And so I don't know if you've heard this, but a lot of the coaches and gurus out there will say, like, discipline actually equals freedom, right? When you know that you just have to keep doing this thing and you have to keep showing up at this, it kind of actually gives you a freedom, right? So I'll give you an example. I found an incredible amount actually of freedom in keto. Like I really, really did, because it was like, okay, I know I can't have any of that stuff. So that gave me like free reign to eat within the boundaries of what I knew I could have. Um, you see what I mean? It's a bit of a paradox, but hopefully that makes sense. Watch out for surprise opportunities that help you align with more deeply with your values as well, right? On May the 21st, the sun enters Gemini, comes into your seventh house. The sun coming into your seventh house is spotlighting your connections, right? Your one-to-one partnerships, collaborations, personal, professional, platonic. You're starting to really assess your partnerships, right? All of them, romantic, business, creative, to see which ones are built to grow. The sun is a point of illumination, right? It brings warmth, it brings blessings, but it also brings light so that you can see exactly what's what. You might attract new people who challenge and excite you in some way. Maybe you connect with new authority figures. Maybe a boss suddenly seems a little bit more gorgeous to you, or vice versa. Lots of really exciting stuff to come out of that. And you might find yourself maybe going over dynamics in the partnership sector with new, fresh eyes. The vibe is definitely social, like conversational, even as well, and deeply revealing, right? So show up, but be clear, all right, about what you're bringing to the table. On May the 25th, Saturn enters Aries into your fifth house. In a lot of ways, I kind of feel like this is let's get serious about joy. This could relate to love, children, creativity. If you've got children, this could be them. Saturn moving through the fifth house, I'm sorry to say, like if you've got kids, they may become a little bit more of a burden at this time. That's very, very possible. So that's something to consider. Um, Saturn rules your second house of money, finances, and resources and values. It also rules your third house of the mind. So you might be building new skills, maybe even, creating new financial foundations here, especially because the fifth house is like a personal business. So if you've got a side hustle or anything like that, this might be the time where you start building that. Now, remember, Saturn is a 2.5 year transit. We're just getting a taste of this. It's going to dip in, do its thing, show us what we're getting, and then it's going to come back out, and then it will go back in full time in 2026. Another thing with this as well, it's possible that joy might feel harder to come by, or that you'll need to be very intentional about carving time out for it. So my advice on this would be, because you've got Venus in this space as well, showing you, how much pleasure and joy is available to you, you want to find a way to hold on to some of that and build it into your day-to-day experience in the structure of your day-to-day habits and routines, so that it doesn't sort of escape you or get away from you. If you've got children, it might be a time where you feel the weight of responsibility of parenting that much more. So I'm sorry to say that, but it is possible. Saturn's not necessarily about dimming your spark, it's just about helping you find ways for the pleasure to last. On May the 26th, Mercury enters Gemini. Mercury comes into Gemini and activates your relationship house with clarity, and it's bringing quick thinking energy. Mercury loves Gemini because it's one of Mercury's signs. And in the seventh house, this is really good for contracts, conversations, negotiations. This is a great time for this stuff for you guys in particular. Hashing things out with your partner. If you're single, sparks could fly through words, shared ideas, mutual interests. There could be a lot of flirtation over phone calls, text messages, emails. It's a really good time to write or to create with somebody else's input. This is a mirror moment, right? And Mercury being a dual-bodied sign, yours is a dual-bodied sign, and both of you are mutable energies. So what's reflected back to you at this time from partners, whether that's personal, professional, or platonic, is going to be really valuable information at this time. On May the 30th, Mercury goes into a Cazimi in the seventh house as well. This is a heart to heart, a contract, or a moment of radical honesty within a relationship of some sort. Mercury Cazimi is like a divine being delivered through, like a divine message is being delivered through through your relationships or through somebody else. So somebody could say something to you and it's like, you take it on board, but it really lands. Whatever happens here, it is offering real clarity, and it's going to be up to you to action this. Since your seventh house has really been lit up this month, consider this as a confirmation. Partnerships of all kinds are asking for your full attention, so pay attention to them. And also, this part of your life is about to get a lot busier. Remember, when Mercury goes into an area, things tend to speed up there. Okay, that's your month in a nutshell. So let's check out your lunations. So you're getting all of it, right? You're getting astrology, you're getting your new moon, your full moon, you're getting tarot. Oh, yes, we're not done yet. I told you they're going to be longer, they're going to be deeper, they're going to be more valuable for you in the long run. Okay. On May the 12th, we have a Scorpio full moon. This for you is happening in the 12th house. Imagine a spotlight being shone into the deepest part of the closet that you own, right? The full moon brings closure, insight, emotional release from deep within your subconscious self. And whenever we have a lunation in the 12th, like a full moon in the 12th, is a spotlight or a highlight on where you are getting in your own way. This is a time to rest, to reflect, possibly even to grieve for something that's quietly been holding up space or blocking space in the background. Hidden truths could come up at this time as well because the full moon is a time of revelation and Uranus is involved in this full moon. So there could be some kind of unexpected realization or, revelation that comes up at this time. And it's going to help you really get rid of what's been draining you behind the scenes. There's a really powerful reset coming this month. And I think this full moon is going to be a big part of it. What's really interesting as well is that those two grand trines, the grand fire trine and the grand earth trine, come after the full moon. And then on May the 28th, we've got the Gemini new moon in that seventh house, a fresh start in love, collaboration, connection. This new moon is beautiful anyway. It's in the seventh house and it's potent, right? It's in an angular house. So you're going to feel this on the ground. It's a fresh start. It's a time to begin anew in relationships. This is Mercury in trine to Pluto, sextile to Saturn and Neptune, newly in Aries. The people you call in now or that you are connected to from here on in are aligned with your next level purpose, like where you go from here, truthfully. Set clear, honest intentions around and for your relationships. And, really ask yourself what, or should I say more importantly, who do you want to build with? And what kind of love or support do you want to receive? And more importantly, are you open to giving at this time? Stay tuned while we get into your tarot. But before we do, I do want to mention if you're not on my mailing list, there's a link in the description box below. You are missing out on my weekly emails. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I send you an email of all kinds. You're going to get laughter, you're going to get tears, you're going to get insight, you're going to get astrology, you're going to get everything. And more importantly, you also get offers that I do not post anywhere else on my socials. So if you're interested in that, there is a link in the description box below. All right. With that said, stay tuned while we get into your tarot for the month. Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your May 2025 tarot. So we're going to get straight into it. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So I just want to say before we get started, remember, if you are not on my mailing list, you are not getting your weekly emails. You're going to get Monday, Wednesday, and Friday emails. You get exclusive discounts and all that good stuff there as well. And for those of you that are interested, the last ever live round of my Tarot Level 1 12-week mentorship is now open. There are links in the description box below. If you're undecided about committing for a full 12 months, don't worry, I've got you covered. I have a masterclass that is short, sharp and sweet and focused that is going to help you really structure your readings to get, like, you know, whether you're a beginner or you are a professional, you're going to have something that really helps you get a handle on how to read. All right, now with that said, and you also get the same price of the masterclass as a discount when you join Tarot One. So it's basically like, it's pretty much a freebie if you sign on to the course. Now, with that said, your key to the month here is the High Priestess card, right? So what do we say? We say hidden things revealed. We also say that your intuition is going to be sharp this month. The other thing with the High Priestess is, you know, she has, obviously every card has its own special powers, if you like. And one of the special powers of the High Priestess is purity, right? So there's something that she sort of shares in common with the Hermit, and that is sometimes these cards can tell us that it really is about taking it back to basics, right? If the Fool card is the fresh start, the High Priestess would literally represent like the pure potency of something. Like when you strip it back to its core message, what is the deeper truth, right? And so in all of these different areas of life this month, you're being encouraged to really strip it back and ask yourself, what is the truth here? What is the truth in this situation, both as I understand it, but more importantly, what is the truth, the objective truth of the situation, even if I don't necessarily like what that truth is. Now, for your actions and options, you've got the Queen of Pentacles. Love this, right? So this week, I'm stuck in that weekly mode for this format of reading. And just to let you know, there will not be any weeklies, so please don't get your hopes up. It's just me getting a little bit confuzzled there. Now, all of that aside, when we're talking about the Queen of Pentacles, so first things first, because she represents your actions and options, right? This is about what you do. Your focus is on your material life and experience and existence. Your focus is on your money, your focus is on your health. You're very much focused on the real world practical things over the course of May. Now, that being said, you do have this in connection to this High Priestess, which means that potentially an Earth sign woman, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, is in the background assisting you or helping you in some way, shape or form. She's standing behind you, right? She's working with you in some way. Now, this could be that somebody is, you know, talking your name up in rooms that you're not even present in at the moment. It could be that there is some opportunity shaping up in the background that you're not aware of that could be coming through an Earth sign woman, a Taurus, Capricorn or a Virgo. Now, in terms of the options that are showing up for you over the course of this month, there's a chance for you to make real material progress, which we love, right? Now, for your communications and conversations, you've got the Four of Cups. I will say, when it comes to communications this month, this could represent news that comes in that is somewhat disappointing. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you what's the word that I'm looking for? It doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's going to upset you or that somebody's going to lie to you. It just may be information that comes in. Maybe it's like, I don't know, let's say you applied to university and you find out that your university says, yes, you know, we'll take you, but unfortunately there's no scholarship money. or you apply to this same scholarship fund, or let's say you applied to a job even, and they say to you like, the job that you applied for has been filled, but actually there's something else that we have in mind for you. It just doesn't look exactly like you would like it to be. What I will say to you is you do have privy to secret information this week, this month, and you will have secret information that shows up for you. So it's like you're getting a little bit of disappointment, but you're actually getting something that ultimately is actually that much more helpful for you, and it potentially comes through this Queen of Pentacles. Now, for those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, honestly, this could be that you are very stuck in your ways on a specific opinion about how you see something. Maybe it's the subject matter, but for a lot of you, I actually think this is going to be how you feel about something, right? And it's very like, yes, Sagittarians are very passionate people, like they say it with their whole chest, like you never have to guess with them. This feels though like something that you are quite emotionally invested as a student, and so maybe something is said to you, maybe something's presented to you, and you're kind of like, yeah, that doesn't rub right with me, right? But in all fairness, it's not to say like, oh, this is a you problem. It's more to say that what you think is objective truth, it looks like this is actually about how you feel about something, right? And if there's anything that we can say is how you feel isn't necessarily always the way that it is, all right? Trust me, as someone coming to this with a Cancer moon, I can assure you it's a very hard pill to swallow sometimes, but it's true. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, again, this could be secret information. Let's say there's an internal job that came up and you're like, yes, I'm going to go for it. I have that information. I have that knowledge. And then you find out that actually they've already got somebody else that's chosen for this. And so you probably won't be getting that position. However, there is other information or something else down the pipeline that comes in probably in the month of June that is so much better for you. All right, so like this is really and truthfully, this month feels like it's more of a waiting game in terms of work. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, this is secret knowledge around money, finances, resources, or a business move that you've made that you're going to see. Like maybe at the time you were like, fuck it, this is literally all I can do. And you're going to find out this month and you'll be like, oh my gosh, it turns out that it really was the best move for me. There's a saving grace here this month, right? And as I say, at the time, maybe you don't see it or feel it, but as we move forward, you definitely will. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, honestly, for those of you that are retired, I feel like there's been something around your health that you've been very tight-lipped about. And it's quite possible that it either comes to light this month or it's discovered in some way, and so therefore you have to kind of fess up. And I think there'll be like a palpable, almost like instant relief when you're like, oh my God, you know what? First of all, I'm glad I don't have to hide this anymore. And second, actually, it helps knowing that people know because I don't feel like I'm on my own. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in a long-term commitment, that Three of Wands with the High Priestess, this is something that you and your partner are cooking up behind the scenes. It looks like a long-range plan, but it's like it takes immediate push or immediate cash sort of in the present in order to get it off the ground. That Three of Wands, especially with this Four of Cups energy here, it's almost like you and your partner are looking at ways to bridge the gap between what your skill sets are, and also to cover your blind spots, right? So it's like, let's say your partner is really good at accounting, right? And you've got like no sense for numbers, but you're actually really good at sales and, they're terrible at sales or whatever the case might be. It's just an example. It's like this month you're figuring out the gaps that you fill for each other. And it's like whatever entrepreneurial idea or thing or vision that you have for the future, you're starting to build the foundations of it this month. So this looks really, really nice. That Three of Wands as well could literally just represent you guys going on like a short trip or a short journey, doing some kind of travel this month and having a really great time doing it, and discovering little gems of knowledge and wisdom on the way that end up being relevant to this thing that you want to do for the future. So just have fun with it. Like, be open to where it will take you. You're a Saggy, you know, you guys are the ultimate adventurers anyway. And then for those of you that are single and looking, if you are on your travels this month, as I'm sure many of you will be, there are options, there are options, there are options, right? You've got this with the High Priestess. So I'm just going to say there will definitely be a tryst or two for those of you that are single. And quite frankly, it looks like some of these trysts may be happening in, it looks like some of you might be joining the Mile High Club. You know, or something along those lines. There's definitely pleasure and enjoyment in places that are somewhat public. You know, and in a way that's like, it's risky, isn't it, right? You know, you drag your partner down an alley and you absolutely smooch their face off, and you know, anyway, I'm gonna stop there to keep this PC. But you catch my drift, right? For those of you that are single, this could be a very adventurous month in the love department, so that could be really nice. And also as well, for those of you that are partnered, you could be getting up to all kinds of mischief in all kinds of interesting places that are somewhat public. Now, when it comes to your money and materials, before we get into that, remember my tarot course is open. If you would like to study tarot, if you want to get, so if you want to spend 12 weeks with little old me learning how to sling them cards, I would be delighted to have you. There are links in the description box below for everything. It will show you, and you can have a read and see if it's for you. Now, for your money and materials, you've got the Judgment card. This is actually a really good card for money. And for those of you that are partnered, I stand by what I said. In fact, it's compounded now, because it's like whatever knowledge and information that you're gathering this month, whatever you're, you know, working with your partner on, or, you know, towards for the long run, it looks like you're building a very solid long-term foundation, which is great. Now, in the more immediate, for all of you Saggies, the Judgment card is really a call to action, right? It's where life kind of says to you, you can't do things the same way anymore. You're going to have to do something different. So in the month of May, not only is your financial outlook changing, but your application and your focus on material matters in general is going to be that much more heightened. It's possible that some of you could be bringing an old revenue stream back onto the table. Whether this is a side hustle, an entrepreneurial venture, you know, this is for all of you now. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, for those of you that have had a long-standing health issue, especially for those of you that have been very tight-lipped about said issue, it will come to light this month. But the beauty of this is you get to the bottom of it. Whatever chronic illnesses, challenges, issues, health issues, etc. that you've had, this you'll see this come to light now, right? And it's like you'll actually be able to make progress with it. And then finally, for those of you that when it comes to your home and environment, this is you beginning a closing cycle when it comes to your living situation. And for a lot of you, I wouldn't be surprised if you are potentially traveling this month to a place that is considered a land of your heritage in some way. Either that, or it's maybe a place that's called to you on a soul level, that you feel like, yeah, you know what, I've always needed to come here or to visit this place. All in all, it looks like a pretty decent month with your cards, even with the other messages that are here, right, with that Four of Cups. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.